On today's show, we'll talk about Frontier's million mile match. We're going to get tripped up by the Seattle Seahawks 12s, and we'll debate which is better, American Airlines or Alaska's loyalty program.
Frequent Miler on the Air starts now. Today's main event, American Airlines AAdvantage versus Alaska Atmos. So these are two programs that are both part of the One World Alliance. They have a tight partnership, and there's a lot of similarities between them. And it might make sense for people who fly American Airlines to actually earn status with Alaska, earn status and points with Alaska, or vice versa. Alaska flyers, it might actually make sense to earn points and status with American Airlines. And so we're going to dig into the details today and decide in today's main event, which is better.
I'm really excited about that, in part because I'm kind of working my way towards both right now, and I don't need both. So I would love your help, Greg, in figuring out which one I should get. So anyway, remember, if you want to jump ahead to that section or you want to come back to something later on, don't forget, you can always find the timestamps in the show notes. Just expand the description box. And wherever you're listening to this or watching this, don't forget to leave us some stars, give us a thumbs up, like the video if you're watching on YouTube. We always appreciate all of that feedback from you. Now it's time to drag out this week's giant mailbag.
Today's giant mail comes once again from Lisa. On a recent episode, we read Lisa's email where she talked about being able to cancel Avianca LifeMiles award flights after the date of flying, and that it was sort of implied from her email that she wasn't charged a cancellation fee because she had LifeMiles Plus subscription, which gives you free cancellations. We had a discussion in that show about, okay, yes, Nick already knew that you could cancel after the date of the flight, but what we didn't know is, do you really get the cancellation for free afterwards if you have LifeMiles Plus? And Lisa wrote in to answer that. She says, me again, you asked on your show whether I had to pay a no-show fee when I canceled my 2 LifeMiles flights. I did have to pay a $25 fee for each flight, but they said this was a Star Alliance service charge, which is always non-reimbursable. They never mentioned a no-show fee. I checked LifeMiles terms and conditions, and they do say there's a $25 Star Alliance service charge, which is always non-reimbursable.
Yeah, that was great to know. And, you know, to add a little bit of framing to this, the LifeMiles Plus offers free cancellation 72 hours in advance. And that's where our confusion was, because the LifeMiles Plus benefit is free cancellation, but it has to be done 72 hours in advance. And what we talked about on the show is whether that's because LifeMiles has this weird thing where awards can't get canceled within 72 hours of departure. If you wait longer than that, if you're closer to departure, you have to wait until afterwards and cancel it after the fact and get your miles back after you've no-showed it, which is so weird. And this is actually, I think, a great deal. I mean, only paying $25 to get your miles back after a no-show, I don't know, that seems pretty awesome to me. That's almost like free.
Yeah, it really is awesome. I mean, I wouldn't love paying $25, but at the same time, I mean, the alternative with most other programs is after the flight. I mean, it's just gone. So that's great. That's great to know. I mean, I think that greatly increases the value of the LifeMiles Plus subscription.
It does, because we had talked before at some point probably about the fact that the LifeMiles Plus is good for the free cancellations, but boy, it's kind of a bummer that it had to be 72 hours in advance because sometimes things come up close to departure. I don't know necessarily that my kid's going to be sick 2 days from now. So that was actually, I think, a great piece of information. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing that with us.
Yeah. I just find this so weird because doesn't Avianca LifeMiles have to pay the partner airline whatever they have to pay them for the flight? I mean, even if there's a no-show, I just find that
Maybe
really
not.
bizarre. Maybe not.
Maybe they don't.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's hard to say. I don't know the inner workings of award tickets and how that all works out. They're not the only program out there that offers reinstatement after no show. Turkish does also. So,
Hmm.
right off the top of my head, anyway, there might be others, but I know Turkish does also. So maybe it's a Star Alliance thing where no shows aren't penalized that much. It's hard to say.
Interesting. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move forward into the next section today, which is Mattress Running the Numbers. I love Mattress Running the Numbers, and we haven't had one in a while. And this week, Frontier makes us bust out the calculator.
Yeah. Yeah. This one's more like mileage running the numbers, but we can't change the name of the segment just
No,
for
of
Frontier.
course not. No. Nice try, Frontier.
Yeah. So Frontier is out with a promo that is eye-catching. They will match your miles up to 1 million miles. 1 million miles. And the idea is this, that if you have to be a new Frontier member, so they're trying to attract those Southwest and other flyers over to Frontier. So you have to be new to Frontier, and you can show them your balances in any number of like partner programs, and up to 1 million miles, and they will match you to that. But there's some pretty strict restrictions on that. So the big restriction is that, or the big sort of gotcha here is, you have to earn that many miles with Frontier over the next year in order to get the match. So what they're really doing is letting you get kind of double your miles up to a set threshold. And so, and the problem is, if you don't reach that threshold, you lose, you don't get any bonus. So for example, let's say I show them that I have over 1 million miles with a bunch of programs. So I set the match at 1 million. You get to set what you want to match to, how many miles.
I mean, you've got 1 million SAS miles, right? So you can show them your 1 million SAS miles.
There you go. So let's say I do that. Great, except now I have to earn 1 million Frontier miles in order to get that extra million of the match. And so, and if I don't get it, if I get 999,000 in the next 12 months after starting the match, I don't get any match at all. Yeah. So there's a bit of a game here in figuring out, well, what do you want to match to? And that really needs to be based on figuring out how many miles you're likely to earn with Frontier over the next 12 months and setting the target somewhere around there, so that you're sure to get the match if you do this.
Wait, you skipped a step. You skipped a step in there. So the second step should have been in deciding whether or not you care about earning that many Frontier miles in the next year, because that's
for sure. Yeah.
So it's a cool offer, but if you say, okay, well, I can spend $20,000 on their credit card over the next year, so I'll match to a program where I have 20,000. Is it worth like spending $20,000 on a Frontier credit card in order to get that extra 20,000, or whatever, flying with Frontier, because you're going to earn them little by little? So you really got to ask yourself, do I care enough? How much is that extra 20,000 Frontier miles worth? And is it worth the effort that I'm going to have to put in to make sure that I get that and exactly that? And when I mentioned the credit card, there's many people out there listening that probably have 1 million miles or hundreds of thousands of miles spread across different programs. And so, like you say, okay, well, I'm a big spender. I have a big capacity for spend. So let me show them 100,000 and I'll do 100,000 in spend. Well, but what if they shut down your credit card account at some point, when you get to like, 95,000 miles or something, and your card gets shut down for spending so much or something. And there's just too much risk here. I don't find this. I find it very interesting and cool and smart marketing. I don't find it all that compelling.
Yeah. A few other details just people should know is, if you are interested in this, you have to register by September 26th. I mentioned already, you have to be a new Frontier member. So you almost certainly don't have a Frontier credit card yet. So I think there's more risk than Nick mentioned so far.
Well,
I already mentioned how you have to earn enough. You can earn from flying Frontier. You can earn from spending on the Frontier Airlines credit card, and other ways which are not mentioned. So Does the Frontier credit cards welcome bonus count? We don't know.
No,
Would you
that's a good
want to gamble
question.
on that? I wouldn't. Are
Well, I
there
mean,
other?
I mean, if you yeah, if you live in an airport that's well served by Frontier, I don't know, maybe
Maybe,
you
maybe.
double the welcome offer,
Um,
maybe.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to be starting Frontier new and you know you're going to be earning miles, you might as well sign up.
Right, right.
It doesn't
And figure
hurt.
out
There's no
what you can
cost
do.
to signing up, so you might as well. But I don't imagine there are going to be many people earning anywhere close to 1 million miles with this promo. And if they are, it's probably because they're doing something very intentional with a huge amount of spend, like Nick was suggesting. And that just seems crazy to me because, so let's say it works for you. You spend 1 million miles, and so you get another million. I mean, you spend $1 million on the credit card just
Right,
to keep things
right.
simple. So you end up with 2 million points. Maybe a bit more than that if you spent in some bonus categories. But what if you just spent the money on a 2x earning
2% card.
transferable points card? Just spend on like your Venture X card to get 2x everywhere, and then you've got 2 million transferable points, or your City Double Cash. There's a lot of better ways to spend your credit card to use your big credit card spend, I think, than this promo. But I applaud them for making it a really interesting promotion.
Yeah, and if Frontier status is important to you and you intend to spend your way to Frontier status, or actually, I shouldn't even say intend because you have to be a new member, right? But if you are newly deciding that you
Yeah.
would benefit from having status with Frontier, maybe you just moved somewhere where Frontier has good service, and so status would help because you get your free bag or whatever other pet fee waiver I think you can get with Frontier, if I remember correctly. So there's a few benefits that might be worth it, and if you're going to do that, well, then you might as well try and get your miles
Sure.
doubled, right? So, go
Absolutely.
ahead and do this. And I want to say that I don't think, like Greg said, I don't think it would be worth spending $1 million on a Frontier card to get an extra million miles. I think Greg's probably right that that million spent on a 2X card would be better. Though I have to qualify that by saying that I haven't spent much time looking at the value of Frontier points lately. So I would guess that they're worth around 1 cent each, but that'd be a guess for me. I don't know off the top of my head how much the points are actually worth towards awards. I have been surprised a couple of times recently with Spirit that Spirit's points were worth a bit more than I might have expected. I booked a redemption that was, I don't know, about 1.4 cents per point, and I was pretty surprised at how good that one was. So I don't know, maybe Frontier has some outliers out there that could be worth it. Not worth a million, I don't imagine, but if you're in that strange situation where Frontier is great for you for some particular reason that
And
you're
and
going to
yet
spend.
and yet you're new to Frontier. That
Right. And
combination
yet
has got
you're
to
new
be
to
really
Frontier.
rare, I
That's,
think.
yeah, yeah, I think so too. You'd have to be somebody who newly moved to Denver or something, maybe.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're in that case, then it might work out.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, let us know. Send it to mailbag@frequentmiler.com if you're one of those people where this is a really attractive promo and that you're planning to go big on it.
Yeah, that's true. I'd love to hear about it. Yeah. And why and all the rest of that. Awesome. All right, let's move on to Bonvoyed. This week we've been Bonvoyed sort of by Wyndham and Vacasa. So we've been getting some data points. We've been getting quite a few data points from people who have had trouble booking Vacasa vacation rentals via Wyndham Rewards. As a reminder, Wyndham has a partnership with Vacasa, which is a vacation rental company, sort of an Airbnb competitor, where you can use Wyndham points to book Vacasa vacation rentals, starting at 15,000 points per bedroom per night. We have a full post about how to book Vacasa vacation rentals with your Wyndham Rewards points. Lately, we've had a few data points from readers saying that phone representatives have told them, first of all, that you can now book a maximum of 6 months in advance using your Wyndham points. And that is a bummer because if you want to go somewhere that's
Hmm.
popular during high season or something, 6 months in advance probably isn't far enough to get a good deal.
Yeah, yeah. And I haven't double checked this yet, but one of the readers also wrote that it's now in the Wyndham's terms and conditions as well, the
Oh,
6 month
interesting.
rule. So I think this one is set, and that's a bummer. Yeah, that just makes it a lot harder than before. to use your points to book Vacasa vacation rentals, which real shame.
Yeah. And so we've also gotten some data points about not being able to book specific areas, specific places. Quite a few readers have pointed to the same sort of response that agents have sent them or told them that following Casago's acquisition of Vacasa and recent changes to the booking systems and processes, it's affecting availability, et cetera, et cetera. And so unfortunately, Pigeon Forge, for instance, is a destination that they're saying they just can't book anymore. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a permanent change or if it's a temporary thing or if there's any agent dependent anything here, but it seems anyway, for now, there's a bunch of places that just aren't bookable. And that's again, a huge bummer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I think you said that one person wrote in with a way around this kind of.
Kind of, yeah. So we had one reader who commented who owns a vacation rental, a Vacasa vacation rental. And so this reader had said that somebody tried to book their Vacasa vacation rental using points and was told by Wyndham that it wasn't available because of the Casago acquisition and the changes in booking systems. And so presumably, I would guess that this reader owner of the Vacasa knew the person trying to book with points. So that's how they found out, I would guess. And so anyway, the reader who owns the Vacasa vacation rental reached out, created a support ticket with Vacasa as an owner saying, hey, listen, I want people to be able to book my place. And apparently it got fixed. It took about a week, they said, and then it got fixed. And now their property can be booked with points. So maybe this is just a matter of there is some incongruence between the systems that hasn't been worked out. And maybe they have to actually go one by one and move properties over or fix them. Maybe they intend to do that. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But it does seem that there's a way for an owner to make it bookable. But I don't know how, as a guest, you would actually get somebody to do that.
Right,
It
right,
seems
right.
challenging at best. So I don't know. Maybe there's some hope that it's going to get fixed because apparently there is a way to fix it. But overall, this would be a big bummer if you can't book places more than 6 months in advance. And if you can't book popular destinations like Pigeon Forge, that'll be a big bummer.
Right, right.
All right, let's move on to awards, points, and more. Under awards, points, and more this week, Delta. There's a Delta promotion out, right?
Yeah. So Delta's brought back their promo for Washington State residents. It's called the Delta 1-2 status. Not really sure why it's called that exactly, but
1-2 status. Come on, you got to say it in like the football way. Come on, Greg.
Okay, there you go. But it doesn't have to do with status. It has to do with earning points. So Washington State residents earn 1 SkyMile for every Seahawks passing yard. So apparently the Seahawks tend to throw about 4,000 ish passing yards each season. So if you're a Washington State resident, or Delta believes you to be, you can register for this promo and just earn that many free points.
All right. So before the Seattle residents jump on me, I've got to say that I know it's not 1-2 status. It did take me a second to realize. They refer to the crowd, I believe, at the Seahawks Stadium as the 12th man because it's one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. Okay. And so I think it's like the 12th man status, so to speak, because I think there's 11 that play. You can tell how much football we watch. As a Detroit Lions fan, I had a lot of years where football was not enjoyable. It's been great these last couple, though. So anyway, I think that's where it comes from. So
the 12th man. Yeah.
I think that's what it is. So
that's almost embarrassing. Okay, well,
only
I'm glad
almost,
you corrected it before this.
From
this
right before it published, and we got a whole bunch of Seahawks fans jumping all over us, like, come to the stadium, and then you'll find out. Anyway, yes. So there you go. There you have it. You can earn some points if you live in Seattle. I think you have to live within a certain number of miles, like 70 miles of Seattle or something. You'll have to check the exact terms. All right. Speaking of terms. Is Delta changing the requirements for elite status next year?
They are not. So you might remember a few years back, Delta drastically increased the requirements for earning status for a few weeks. There was so much outcry that they rolled that back and made it easier than ever to earn status. So it went exactly the opposite way. They were trying to decrease the ranks of like high level elites, which were overblown. A little bit of history lesson during the pandemic, they were letting people roll over all their status earnings every year. And so their elite ranks like swelled up to such a huge amount that it's one of those things where if everyone's elite, no one is, because the upgrade list is like 89 people long on a 60-person flight, and so they were their original intent was to decrease their elite ranks, but they got so much public outcry, they went the other way, reduced the requirements, added these like status boost thingies from the credit cards, and now it's like way easier than ever. So we assumed that the following year they would increase increase it partway towards the eventual big amount that they had said before. They didn't, and now again for 2026, they're not going to increase it again. So if you've been hoping to earn Delta Elite status, it's good news for you. If you easily earn Delta Elite status and hate that the ranks have swollen so big, it's not so good news for you.
Yeah, yeah. This is surprising to me. I expected for sure we would see some creep over the next few years, and I'm not talking about a specific person when I say some creep. I mean some creep in the requirements
Yeah.
to go up over the next couple of years. So I don't know. I'm surprised. Are you surprised? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, although I'm kind of in the mindset now that Delta has decided that rather than make elite status better by thinning the ranks, they're going to instead get sort of better reviews for making it easier to get elite status in a way like that. Maybe overall it's better for their business, or they think it is, to have more elite members who don't necessarily get great benefits than fewer elite members who do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're wrong. If there's people that get elite status relatively easily but don't fly a lot, that has
Yeah.
only so much impact on anybody,
Right.
really,
Right.
and so yeah, I don't know that they're wrong.
What we don't know is whether they're going to reduce any elite benefits. So we
Yeah.
know that
Oh,
that they're going to
interesting.
keep the elite status requirements the same, but are they going to keep the same benefits for elite? We don't know.
Interesting. Well, I mean, with Alaska introducing a pretty new program here, and the two of them kind of competing in some markets, it'd be interesting
Hmm.
to see if they add anything to compete or if they keep things the same. So we'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, another thing we've got our eye on is the fact that Condor flights are now bookable with JetBlue points. So Condor is a subsidiary owned by Lufthansa. They have a nice looking business class product. I'm booked on it later this year and I'm excited about it. It looks pretty nice. And now you can book it with JetBlue points. And JetBlue from the East Coast to Frankfurt's charging just 54,000 True Blue points in business class at the time of recording this. And I say at the time of recording this because several times now when JetBlue has launched a partner, award prices have been great for a hot minute, and then they have increased substantially a few weeks later. So if you've got a lot of JetBlue points, you may want to book if you want to book something sooner rather than later. From the West Coast, the story isn't as good. About 100,000 points one way in business class, I think.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
seems
so
pricey.
it's pretty pricey that way. I want to correct one thing. Condor's no longer owned at all by
Oh, they are.
Lufthansa. Yeah, they're completely
Were.
separate, and in fact, they're trying to get out of a law that required them to Lufthansa to provide feeder service from Condor flights at a reasonable rate. They've made headroom in getting out of that agreement. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah, yeah.
I did not know. They need to change their logo then too at some point because often when I see their logo in award searches, I think that it's Lufthansa
Oh,
because it's so
interesting.
similar.
Uh-huh.
And then I expand the details. I'm like, oh, that's Condor. And I'm talking about when I use award tools because of course they show flights that are bookable through many different programs. At any rate, speaking about booking Condor award flights, the nice thing here is that Condor award availability can be really good. I was just looking at some stuff for next year, and I was looking at days that would probably be popular departure days where there were like 8 or 9 seats or more available in business class. So it's worth taking a look if you're interested in going anywhere on Condor and you have a lot of JetBlue points. Of course, 54,000 JetBlue points each way from the East Coast. Alaska charges 55,000, 1,000 more from the East Coast for those same Condor flights. Emirates can also book those for 77,500 points. I know that because I have a bunch of Emirates points, and so I'm looking to use those too. Anyway, so there you have it. That's a new development. It's good to see JetBlue continuing to expand, and that makes me a little bit more excited about this 25 for 25 thing, and hopefully having a lot of JetBlue points sometime soon, because this will be something we'll find particularly useful, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't forget, if you have a JetBlue credit card, you get a 10% rebate on those awards. So you get some miles back when,
That's right.
when you book them as well.
That's right. Yeah,
Pretty
great
cool.
point. All right. That brings us, I think, to this week's main event.
Main event time. American Airlines AAdvantage versus Alaska Atmos. So American Airlines loyalty program AAdvantage and Alaska's loyalty program Atmos Rewards, they share a lot of things in common. They're both One World Alliance programs. They have a close partnership. They both, and this is unusual these days, they both have award charts, at least for when flying their partners. So that's a good thing for both of them. They both, in recent years, have simplified how elite earnings work into a single metric. Alaska calls theirs status points, and American calls theirs loyalty points, but it's same idea. And you have reciprocal elite benefits. So if you're elite with one of these programs and flying the other, you get benefits for your elite status, even though you're flying the partner. Maybe Nick, can you summarize what you get in that
Yes.
case?
Well, let's dig into that a little bit, because I think that's an important component of deciding which airline you want to chase status with, knowing which benefits you might be able to get when you fly on the other. Let's say you fly American a lot and you're asking yourself, well, should I earn status with Alaska? You probably want to know, well, what benefits am I going to get if I have Alaska status when I'm flying American, and vice versa. So let's start out with your reciprocal elite benefits. The first one that probably matters to a lot of people is how to get main cabin extra seats on American or extra legroom seating on Alaska. So if you have status with American Airlines and you're flying on Alaska, then American Airlines Gold members get free extra legroom seating within 48 hours or at booking with certain fare classes. Platinum members, American Airlines Platinum members, get that extra legroom seating 72 hours in advance of departure, again, or at booking with certain fare classes. Executive Platinum members get extra legroom seating on Alaska at the time of booking. So you need top tier American Airlines elite status to get it at the time of booking. On the flip side, if you have status with Alaska and you're looking for extra legroom seating on American, so main cabin extra seating, if you have Alaska Silver status, it only takes Silver status to get that extra legroom seating within 24 hours of departure. And if you have Alaska Gold or higher, then you get the main cabin extra seating at the time of booking. So that's a pretty significant difference. You need American Airlines Executive Platinum to get it at booking on Alaska, but with Alaska status, you get it on American with just Gold or higher at the time of booking.
Yeah, yeah, and Alaska Gold is even though it's the second level of status, it's not that hard to achieve. We'll talk more about status levels later.
Correct. Okay, then so that's the extra legroom seating. Complimentary upgrades. So if you're looking to get upgraded for free, if you have status with Alaska and you're flying on American Airlines, those can clear as early as 72 hours in advance of departure. Gold and above get one companion. If you have Alaska Gold status or higher, then you and one companion could receive a complimentary upgrade when you're flying American. On the flip side, if you have American Airlines elite status and you're flying on Alaska, any status level that qualifies for a complimentary upgrade can get an upgrade for you and one companion on the same reservation. If you have American Gold status, then your upgrades can clear as soon as 48 hours prior to departure, with American Platinum as soon as 72 hours prior to departure, and Platinum Pro or higher as soon as 120 hours prior to departure. Now, I'm saying as soon as because those complimentary upgrades don't always clear in advance of, before you get to the gate anyway, right? So you don't know for
Right.
sure that you're going to get upgraded. It could end up going right down to the wire, but those are the earliest windows where you could expect an upgrade.
Yeah, yeah. Also, the upgrade order is complicated, but in general, if you're like, if you have Alaska status flying American, um, you're going to be below on the upgrade list, below American Airlines elites who have similar level of status than you, and same thing the other way around. That if you're flying Alaska with American Airlines status, you're going to be below the Alaska elites who have similar level of status than you.
Very good. All right, so that gives you a little bit of a peek at reciprocal elite benefits. There's a lot of standard stuff like the priority check-in and free check bags and stuff like that that is pretty standard that you get on both. And
Yeah,
so we're not
yeah,
going to dig through all of those individual things. Those are the more important benefits probably for most people in terms of reciprocal benefits.
yeah, yeah. All right, now let's dig into these programs. We're going to talk about earning redeemable miles. We're going to talk about elite status. We're going to talk about elite milestones and elite status levels. We're going to talk about using miles, all those different topics, and comparing these two programs. For the purpose of this discussion, I want to use the term miles to represent the points that can be used to redeem for award flights. Okay, so Alaska now calls those points. American still calls them miles, I think. But we'll just refer to those as miles. And then for the points you earn that get you towards elite status, we're going to just tend to refer to them as status points, which is the term that Alaska uses. American uses loyalty points, but I think status points is equally good term. They mean the same thing.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about earning those redeemable miles that you can redeem for an award ticket. And so at a base level, it's relatively similar, right? You can earn from flying, from credit cards, from making purchases through the shopping portal, different partnerships, and also from point transfers. So there's a lot of different ways to collect them.
Yeah, yeah. So let's drill in just a little bit to earning from credit card welcome bonuses and spend. So on the American Airlines side, you've got several different Citibank, American Airlines cards. You also have Barclays American Airlines cards, which are going away at some point, and going to become Citibank cards. So yeah, you have this situation of two different issuers right now, but that's going to be consolidated. Alaska, you've got a very similar thing going on where you have Bank of America being the primary issuer and the only issuer for Alaska branded cards, but you have Barclays issuing Hawaiian branded cards, and Hawaiian starting October 1st is going to be on the exact same rewards program, and already the points are transferable back and forth. So, so those are two banks issuing cards that can earn these miles. I don't think we're clear yet on what's going to happen to those Hawaiian Airlines cards, whether they're sticking around or not.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect them to stick around, particularly based on things that Alaska had said. It didn't, it sounded very clear that they were interested in maintaining their partnership with Bank of America. However, word on the street is that they're going to continue on as normal after October 1st. Whether or not they're still available for new applicants, I don't know. And I don't know how long those cards will last. There's been nothing. Well, going back to AA, we know that Citi is buying the Barclays cards. So if you have a Barclays American Airlines card, that will eventually become a Citi card and eventually is going to be
Right.
sometime in 2026. We don't know that about the Barclays Hawaiian cards. There's been no mention of Bank of America buying that back book. So we don't know what's going to happen there long term. But for now, anyway, you got a bunch of different cards on which you could spend to earn redeemable
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah. So I'm not sure there's a clear advantage to either one in terms of the
Right.
ability right now to earn welcome bonuses or to earn from spend. There's a lot of opportunities in both cases. There's not a lot of category bonuses within the airline branded cards, other than the new. There's a few 2x opportunities. Off the top of my head, the only 3x opportunity I could think of is the new Alaska Atmos Summit card, which has 3x for dining
And
and
foreign
international
purchases.
spend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You also have the ability, though, with both programs to transfer from some transferable points programs. So, American Airlines, you can transfer now from Citi Thank You Rewards, and Alaska, you can transfer from Bilt. And the Bilt partnership also has an interesting aspect where if you have rent to pay, you could pay your rent through Bilt Rewards with your Alaska consumer card, not a business card, and earn three Alaska points or miles, as we're talking about now, three Alaska miles per dollar. You do have to pay a 3% fee, but it could be well worth it depending on what you're doing, whether you're trying to earn elite status and things like that.
Yep. Okay. And then finally, from flying, you can obviously earn redeemable miles from flying. With American Airlines, you're going to earn 5 miles per dollar spent on American Airlines flights, and then you'll earn bonuses with status. So, depending on what you have, gold, platinum, platinum pro, executive platinum, you'll earn anywhere from a 40% bonus to a 120% bonus. On the Alaska side, you have some options. So you can choose whether you want to earn distance based, where you'll earn 1 mile per mile flown, whether you want to earn based on the price of your ticket, very similar to American Airlines, 5 miles per dollar spent, or you could choose to earn per segment and earn 500 miles, redeemable miles per segment flown. So which is best for you will depend. And there's still, of course, the bonuses with elite status. And on the Alaska side, those range from 25% at the bottom all the way up to 150% bonus for top tier Alaska members, which is, as you know, you may have heard there, higher than it is on the American Airlines side. In fact, the bonuses, once you get beyond silver status, are all a little bit higher on the Alaska side.
Yeah, yeah, and it's worth mentioning. Like American doesn't have a silver status, so if you just compare gold and up, they're all higher bonuses on Alaska's side than American side.
Mm-hmm.
So you could argue silver is also higher because that's comparing
Right.
to zero bonus
To zero.
with American.
That's true. That's true. So your status bonuses are all a little bit higher on the American side. For comparable status levels, you're talking 40% for gold with American versus 50% for gold with Alaska, or platinum gets you 60% with American, platinum with Alaska gives you 100%. So
Yeah, yeah.
we'll talk more about
so
that
better
stuff.
earnings with Alaska.
Yep.
With Alaska elite status. Okay, so for this section, as far as the ability to earn redeemable miles, I think there's a slight edge, as we just mentioned, with Alaska with in terms of earning for flying if you have status, but I actually think American Airlines has the advantage here if you're going to earn right, if you're going to earn through spend on Citibank cards, because Citi cards have lots of opportunities to earn anywhere from 3x to 5x, actually 6x, and on weekend evenings.
Right.
With the Citibank Thank You Rewards cards, and then you could transfer those points to American. So overall, I'm giving a slight nod to American Airlines for the ability to earn redeemable miles.
Yeah, I think that totally makes sense because you can earn way more redeemable miles thanks to that transfer partnership with Citi nowadays. All right, let's talk about elite status in general, though, because if you want to earn elite status, that certainly may be a focus, then things start to become maybe a little bit more different. So you can earn, of course, from paid flights, which is sort of similar, except that Alaska gives you a couple of different ways to choose to earn status points from flying. Just as we just mentioned a few moments ago, you can choose to earn same thing as with paid flights, one status point per mile flown, or you could choose based on the amount of money you're spending on your flights, or based on that minimum of 500 status points per segment. So you've got the option to choose which.
Yeah. And Alaska also has an incredible trick up its sleeve. In addition to letting you choose, they let you earn status points for award flights. And so if you choose to earn based on distance, then you'll earn status points based on the distance flown. But if you decide to earn based on the price of your ticket, you'll earn one status point for
Every $20.
$20
points redeemed. 20 points redeemed. Yeah.
per 20 points. Yeah, right. And so, anyway, so that's a really cool feature with Alaska. In both cases, you can also earn from credit card spend. With American Airlines, it's straight up, you earn one loyalty point per dollar spent. Very simple. Alaska is not as good with that. You get one status point per $2 with the Summit card, or one status point per $3 spent with the other Alaska cards.
Yeah, so you can earn with credit card spend, but you're going to have to spend significantly more on your Alaska cards in order to earn those status points than you do with American Airlines. For clarity, for anybody who's not familiar, like Greg said, you earn one loyalty point per dollar spent on American Airlines cards. And to keep in mind that is regardless of the category bonus you're spending in. So if you happen to have an American Airlines card that's earning some category bonus, you're not going to earn 2 or 3 loyalty points per dollar spent. You're still going to earn just 1 loyalty point per dollar spent, even if you earn more redeemable miles per dollar spent. Alaska, on the other hand, well, no, I guess Alaska is the same kind of a thing. It's one status point per $2 or $3, depending on which card you're using. So
yeah.
It's
and
different than redeemable points.
Right. And I want to say, I mentioned a second ago, American has the advantage there of having a better ratio to dollars spent when you're earning status points from your credit card. Some people might be saying, but wait a minute, status with American requires a lot more status points than Alaska does. And we will get into that further in the show. I don't want to brush past that fact that while American, you can earn more from credit card spend, you may need more.
Yeah.
to get to the level of status you want.
Yeah, you can also earn through portals. So through the shopping portals and through American Airlines Simply Miles. So American Airlines, you'll earn 1 loyalty point per mile earned. So if you're going through the shopping portal and doing an offer to earn a few miles per dollar at Macy's or Bloomingdale's or wherever it is you're spending your money, or you're doing one of those like Blue Apron deals where you get 4,000 miles for signing up for Blue Apron, you get the same number of loyalty points. With Alaska, it's 1 status point per 3 miles earned. Right. So you're going to earn fewer status points overall, though again, like Greg said, it all depends on what you value, and we'll get further into that. But again, 1 loyalty point, 1 status point, we'll call it, per mile earned for American, 1 status point per 3 miles earned for Alaska.
Yeah. And I should have mentioned at the outset of all of this that most of what we're going to be talking about when comparing American's program to Alaska's is based on Alaska's program as of January 1st, 2026. So like as we're recording this, there are some differences in terms of like what's the maximum status points you could earn for different things. And that's going to be going away next year. So we won't get into those kind of details right now. Another way you could earn is with miscellaneous partners, like sometimes there's those FTD flowers or car rental, whatever, different ways of getting airline miles. And with American Airlines, just like everything else, almost everything else American Airlines does, if you earn a redeemable mile, you also get 1 loyalty point. So it's a very simple 1-to-1. Alaska, they have some partners like Lyft, or if you book hotels, cars, cruises, or vacations through Alaska Airlines, then you get 1 status point per dollar spent. Now that's per dollar. That's not per mile earned, right? So
Right.
it's still different from American Airlines. It's per dollar. Okay. And then for miscellaneous other stuff, the portal, which we already mentioned, but also just the random other things where you can earn Alaska miles, you're going to get one status point per 3 miles earned.
Right. All right. So that gives you a little bit of a glimpse into earning. Then, speaking of earning, you also can earn milestone rewards in both programs. Both offer milestone awards as you earn American Airlines loyalty points and Alaska status points, what we're kind of referring to as status points overall. You can earn certain milestones. And the biggest of those milestones is upgrade certificates.
Yeah. So first, we don't know what the 2026 milestones in either program are going to be at this point. But one of the things that really struck me as I browsed through the milestones available right now in both programs is that to get a choice to pick up two upgrade certs with American Airlines, you have to earn 175,000 loyalty points. With Alaska, you get two upgrade certs at only 85,000 status
Wow.
points. Yeah, so it's a huge difference. I don't know if that's going to change. It probably will change in 2026, but as things stand right now, you get your upgrade certificates much sooner. And I also the other thing I can't really say anything about is the difference in value of these things. So, Alaska is going to start making them work on long haul international flights and stuff, but they, of course, have a much different route network than American Airlines does. No idea whether the availability upgrades will be better than American or worse than American, that kind of thing. So take that all a grain of salt there.
And it's also worth mentioning that while you get those two upgrade certs at about half the number of status points that you do with American, if you've been paying attention to the math along the way here, you're also earning status points at a much slower pace with Alaska than you are with American. So,
With Alaska partners and credit cards, you are. With flying, you're
sure,
earning at a higher pace,
that's true.
higher
Yes,
or equal.
or equal.
So it's not as straightforward as it sounds.
It's a
But you're
great
right.
point.
In general, for most people, I think a lot of status points will be earned outside of flying, and then American, you do earn much faster. You're not earning from status points from award bookings with American,
Right.
though.
Right. And that can make a big difference. I mean,
It can make
I
a big
think this year
difference.
alone, I'm flying at least 20,000 miles, a little more than that, on Alaska booked awards. And so
Yeah.
it'd be 20,000 status points right there. I'd be a quarter of the way to earning those two upgrade certificates just on my award bookings that I made before I even knew you'd earn elite status, I think, with Alaska though. So it was not something where that influenced my behavior at all.
Yeah.
So if I were focusing more on that, I'm sure I could have booked even more through Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
so let's talk about those elite status levels then next, because we've got a number of different thresholds and the requirements to earn those thresholds start to differ quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Starting out at 20,000 status points, you will get Alaska silver status. You don't get anything with American. I mean, there's milestones along the way, but as far as an actual achieving elite status, you don't get anything with American at that level, at the 20K level. Alaska silver gives you your 25% elite bonus, which we mentioned earlier. So that's earnings on flights. You also get One World Ruby status, and that gives you, when you're flying One World Airlines, gives you access to business class check-in and preferred seating on those airlines. So that's pretty cool. At 40K, you get a level, you get gold status with both programs. I think it's worth mentioning though that American Airlines, what they call gold, is like what most other airlines call silver. So it sounds like you're getting the same thing, but I don't really think you should think of it that way. American's Gold gives you a 40% elite bonus, and One World Ruby. So that's the same status in One World that you got at 20K with Alaska. Alaska's gold, you get a 50% elite bonus, and One World Sapphire. Now things get interesting in the One World realm because Sapphire One World status gives you access to One World business class lounges. So, let's say you're flying economy on a One World airline outside the US, then you get access to the business class One World lounge, which is great.
It is. That's a nice little benefit to have at just 40K status points. When you move up to the next level at 75,000 American Airlines loyalty points, or what will be 80,000 Alaska status points in 2026. It's 75K right now in 2025, but in 2026 it'll be 80K Alaska. At that level, American Airlines would give you platinum status, which will give you a 60% elite bonus, and One World Sapphire, which you could have had at Alaska at the previous level.
Right.
So that's, again, American Airlines Platinum, 60% bonus, One World Sapphire. On the Alaska side, with what will be 80,000 status points in 2026, you get Alaska Platinum status, which gives you a 100% elite bonus, significantly more on the elite bonus side, and One World Emerald status. And One World Emerald gives you access to first class One World lounges when you're flying One World same day. And there are some nice One World first class lounges out there. So that could be a great benefit if you're flying economy outside the US anyway.
Or business class.
Or business class, right? Or business class. Good point. And you just want to be able to access the first class lounge because sometimes those first class lounges can be quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely. They can be really, really impressive in some cases. All right. The next status level bump is quite a ways from the 75K, 80K range. At 125K, that's when you get American Airlines Platinum Pro. And that'll give you an 80% elite bonus. And you finally catch up with One World Emerald at that point, which you got at that 80K level with Alaska. Shortly, so very close behind the 125K at 135K with Alaska, and this is starting next year. In 2025, titanium requires 100K status points, but starting in 2026, it'll be 135K. That gets you to Alaska titanium status with 150% elite bonus, which is really excellent.
Yeah, that is. That's fantastic. And then finally, at the top end for American Airlines, if you earn 200,000 American Airlines loyalty points, you'll get executive platinum status, which gives you a 120% bonus. So less than what you would get at 135K with Alaska, and a significantly higher total threshold to get top tier status with American Airlines at 200,000 loyalty points required versus 135,000 status points required with Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So to summarize what we've learned about the comparison, the elite status comparison here, I think Alaska has a significant edge over American in terms of their elite program because you can earn from award flights. Because it's easier to get low-level status, which starts at 20K instead of 40K with American, because it's easier to get meaningful One World status, which happens at threshold before American does. And now, on the flip side, it is harder with Alaska to get top-tier status through spend alone because you're earning fewer status points per dollar. But still, overall, I think Alaska has that advantage. Another advantage for American, though, is that if you like to earn a lot of status points through portals and like Simply Miles, which is where you link your card to that program, then you earn more status points through American Airlines, and so you could get to status potentially quicker that way.
Yeah, I think if you're earning status from the couch, if you want to earn status from home from the couch, it's probably easier to get to a meaningful level with American Airlines.
Yep.
If you're going to be redeeming miles with Alaska, I think, and or flying inexpensive long flights, fairly often, then I think it becomes far easier to earn a really meaningful level of status with Alaska, or at the very least, comparable amount of effort. I mentioned before that this year alone, I'm going to fly 20,000 miles plus in redeemed awards with Alaska. And so then even if I were earning one Alaska status point per $3 spent, if I spent 60K on one of the cards, I would end up with gold status and I wouldn't get something comparable spending 60K on American. And I don't earn anything for my American awards flown. So it's going to vary based on your
Mhm.
situation. But I think if you
Right.
redeem Alaska miles at a decent clip, Alaska gets a significant advantage here.
Yep. Yep. All right, let's talk about using miles though. So if you're doing all this stuff to earn status, you're also earning redeemable miles along the way, or you might be wanting to transfer from transferable points programs. And so which one has the most valuable, useful miles? That's really important, I think.
Yeah, and it's hard to answer definitively, but I think we're going to make a number of different comparisons here. So let's start with the partner award charts. First of all, they both have a partner award chart, which we appreciate. That matters to us in terms of earning points and miles, because if I'm going to earn them, I want to have sort of a goalpost as to how much it's going to cost me to when I want to redeem them. So that's good. They're a little bit different, in some ways similar, in some ways different. American Airlines has a region-based award chart. Alaska has a kind of a combination. It's both region and distance-based, a little bit more similar to Air Canada Aeroplan in that way. But one shines over the other depending on which types of redemptions you're looking at, right?
Yeah. So, this isn't going to be true in every single case, but on average, shorter flights, you're going to do better redeeming Alaska miles. And longer flights, you're going to do better redeeming American Airlines miles. So, which which one's better? I mean, it's gonna vary so much. And for I know for me, it's not that I can say overall I tend to do one or the other, so this one's better for me. I mean, it just varies from flight to flight, from award booking to award booking, which one is the better program to use.
Yeah, and like Greg said, those generalizations he just made about Alaska being better for short and American being better for long, those are variable too. If you're based on the East Coast, Alaska charges a little bit less than American to get to Europe in business class. And on the flip side, if you're based on the East Coast and you want to go to Asia, you're going to pay far less with American than you would with Alaska. And if you're based on the West Coast, it's going to cost you way more with Alaska miles to get to Europe. And so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
definitely going to vary based on where you are. But I think that's a pretty good generalization for the most part. But one place that Alaska has a significant advantage is in the ability to book stopovers, to book a stopover award. You get a free stopover on a one-way award with Alaska. And that can make Alaska a better deal for long distance flights if your long distance travel dreams include two destinations. If you're going to go to at least two destinations, then Alaska becomes far more appealing. And to give one example, American charges in business class from the United States to Asia 60 or 70,000 points one way, or miles, I should say, 60 or 70,000 miles one way to get to Asia in business class. Alaska charges more. However, I was just looking last night at an award from the East Coast of the US to Frankfurt on Condor, and then continuing on to Asia, to Bangkok on Condor. And with a stopover, that should be 85,000 miles, because that's what they charge to get to Asia on that route. And so 85,000 miles one way with the stopover, that seems like potentially a really good deal if you wanted to do both, because with American you'd have to book those as separate awards. So you'd pay 57,500 to get to Europe and then another 75,000 to get from Europe to Asia, whereas you could do both for 85,000 miles on a single Alaska award with a stopover. So it becomes a significantly better deal in that type of situation. Now, are there situations where you're going to want to fly to Europe and Asia on the same trip? I don't know, but there are times when the ability to have a free stopover might make Alaska a better deal on a long distance award after all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I haven't myself booked an award like that, or at least not any time in recent years, but it's so compelling as a potential that I really like that's there in the toolbox. Now, both programs will have ways to let you book and cancel awards for free. American Airlines, it's straightforward. It's just free for everyone who's part of the program. With Alaska, you do have this like $12.50 fee, award booking fee for, and anytime there's a partner involved in the award, and it's a fee per person per direction of travel. That if you are just a regular Alaska member and you have to pay that fee to book it, and when you cancel an award, you don't get that $12.50 per person per direction back, unless you have if you have the Summit Visa Infinite card, then you don't pay that $12.50 fee in the first place, and so in that case, booking and canceling is free, like American. So slight advantage to American there, but not a big deal if you're willing to get that premium card with Alaska.
Very good. Sharing miles. If you want to share miles with other people, Alaska is the clear winner because they provide a way to do that and American Airlines doesn't. So right now, it's still possible, I think, to combine miles on the Hawaiian side, though that's pretty temporary. You can transfer, if you have a Hawaiian Airlines credit card, you can transfer to somebody else and combine on that side. But even moving forward, Alaska is going to allow the opportunity with the Summit card to create essentially like a points pool and transfer points with up to 10 other people. So if you're a family traveler and everybody's earning miles on your flights, then Alaska would have a significant advantage there with the Summit card.
Yeah, yeah. I should correct something. I'm sure that American would let you share your miles, but they'll
true.
charge you quite a bit for it, and you don't want to pay to share your miles. That's kind of ridiculous. It's like buying miles for someone else and losing the miles you have.
Right. That's a great
never
point.
makes sense to pay to transfer your miles, except in like the rarest circumstances where they don't charge much for it. Okay. Now, another thing about booking award flights is the ability to mix partners on a single award. So American Airlines has that ability. They don't necessarily make it easy to like force it. Like, so if you're trying to create a routing that's not coming up in your search automatically, it's not that easy to make that happen. But they will combine partners in a single booking when it's a route that makes sense to them. And Alaska, they have been promising the ability to do this for a long time. They've dabbled in the ability a little bit. I think there's a couple awards that can be booked that mix some partners when flying to Europe or something.
But they don't always price the way they're supposed to. It's like it's wonky. It doesn't work well. This is one area where they have been over-promising and under-delivering because they've said for too long now that it's coming soon and it hasn't happened yet. And that's a frustration point, I think, because they do have some good partners where it would be nice to be able to mix them on an award. You mentioned Europe, and I just mentioned a few minutes ago booking a stopover on Condor to fly to Frankfurt and then on to Asia. But Condor only has a couple of destinations in Asia, and so it'd be much more convenient to be able to combine them with some other partner for a stopover award, but you can't do it yet. And so that's super frustrating.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. And yeah, I mean, I just came up with that situation recently. I was looking to book an award where it would have been perfect to book a flight on Etihad with a stopover followed by a flight on Qatar, but can't do it.
Yeah, and that's really annoying with Alaska. I hope that they get that fixed sooner rather than later. I assume that they will. I mean, they've said that they intend to, but it can't happen fast enough. I don't know what's taking so long there. I'm sure it's complicated on the back end, but enough other programs make that easily doable that there ought to be a technology solution for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of partners, what about booking non-Oneworld partners? Who's got the advantage there?
Yeah, both programs have partners that are not part of Oneworld, and both of them let you use your miles to book a lot of those partners. I think Alaska has probably more, like a higher number of these partners, but I'm not even positive about that. American Airlines has a pretty large number of them. Yeah. but regardless, which one's better is going to really depend on your situation. Like, I've loved the fact that American Airlines partners with Etihad and has great award booking prices, which I just realized when I said my example before with Alaska
Yeah.
wanting to book an Etihad and Qatar flight, that wouldn't have worked anyway because
Right.
Etihad's not a one world partner or a partner with Alaska. But so I like Etihad. They also have like Air Tahiti Nui as a partner, which can be very useful. But Alaska has partners like Condor and Singapore and Starlux, which all of those can be really terrific partners. So it kind of depends where you're flying as to which one would be best for those things, I think.
Yeah, and boy, if they get those mixed partner awards going, then I think Alaska may end up with some advantage there because of the way that those non-one world partners kind of cover places that some of
Yeah.
the one world partners don't.
Right, right. You'd be able to get just about anywhere, which would
Mhm.
be really terrific. A lot like, Air Canada has that now. They have so many miscellaneous partners that you can tie in and you can get to really remote areas with that. And Alaska, it'll make sense once you can mix those partner awards. Um, Okay, and we've mentioned this before, but I'm just going to repeat that with Alaska, you could actually earn status points on your award flights. So, and you can't do that with American. So, in a way, that makes redeeming your Alaska miles more valuable because you're also
Mhm.
earning status from it. So,
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I was just kicking myself the other day because I was like, oh, I booked something with American Miles that I realized I could have booked with Alaska and earned, credit towards elite status, and so that makes a difference now. And when I look at the two options and think about, am I willing to pay a little bit more in Alaska Miles to earn the status points, etc. So it's kind of an interesting piece of redeeming miles. So speaking of redeeming miles, what's your verdict? Who's the winner here? Who's got the better program for redeeming miles?
yeah, I mean, I think it's mixed, but I think Alaska has an edge because of the the stopovers and maybe more interesting partners but there are advantages to American too. So I'm not going to declare a set winner on this category. What about you?
I agree. My American Airlines miles have been really valuable for lots of great redemptions
Mhm.
over the years. So it's hard for me to definitively say Alaska is better. I've redeemed far more American Airlines miles than I have Alaska miles, but I'm really intrigued by the ability to earn towards elite status with Alaska award bookings. And the stopover thing has always been appealing to me. And I've used it before and I haven't used it in a while. And now I'm looking to use it again. And stopovers, I think, really are something that appeal to me. I like to be able to see a couple of places on a single trip. So I probably slightly prefer Alaska here, but it's very close, and I could totally see why someone would prefer American. So it's a toss up depending on your use case.
All right. So we've covered all these different categories. What's the final word? Which one's better, Nick?
I don't think that's easy to answer. So just to recap some of the stuff we talked about, you got similar options for earning redeemable miles on both of them, credit cards and shopping portals, etc. Alaska Elite status might be easier to earn because it has lower requirements and award bookings count. And I say might be because it depends on how you're earning. If you're earning just based on credit card spend, then it's not easier. But if you're earning based on booking awards, then it becomes a significantly lower bar in many cases. So, and certainly if you want to get to top tier status, then American Airlines is going to be probably easier unless you're flying tons of award tickets with Alaska. The value of the miles, again, tough. They're both pretty valuable. I would say that both programs offer similarly valuable flights. American probably better on most long distance awards to a single destination. Alaska probably better on short flights and stopover awards. If you fly one or the other often, it might be worth sticking with the program that you fly more, you think? Is that what you would say? Or
So
not
yeah, so
necessarily? I don't
so
know.
so so there are cases where let's say you fly American Airlines a lot, um, where when things go wrong, if you have American Airlines Executive Platinum status, you're gonna get covered better than if you have Alaska status, for example. Another thing is redeeming miles for the airline you want to fly. There are many cases where, I want to fly that particular American Airlines flight. It's not available to partners, so I can't use Alaska miles to book it. I can use American Airlines miles to book it. Same thing on Alaska's side. If you really want to use your miles to book an Alaska flight, you might need Alaska miles for that to even be possible, depending on whether they've released that to partners. So there are cases where with those kind of elite benefits and using your miles where if you're really loyal to flying one of those programs or airlines, then there might be an advantage to you to sticking with that. If you're more of an occasional flyer of one of them, though, I think those things are less important, and I'm personally seeing a lot more to like in Alaska's program overall than Americans.
Yeah, I'm far more excited about Alaska's program than Americans. And that's saying something because when American changed to the loyalty points metric, I think all of us were pretty interested in that and in the fact that you could earn those loyalty points and earn status by, ordering from Blue Apron and spending obviously, of course, on a credit card. But there are just so many different ways to earn it. And we kind of created a game out of earning American Airlines elite status without flying American. And so for Alaska to develop something that interests me even more, or interests both of us, I think even more, says something about the creativity, I think, of the changes here. So I think personally, I will be more excited about chasing status with Alaska because I think in any given year, it's pretty conceivable that I could be flying 10 or 20,000 miles on award tickets booked via Alaska. And so then my path to Alaska Gold status is really not all that far, particularly if I were able to get the Summit Visa card, because then, of course, one of the benefits on that card is it gives you 10,000 status points and you earn your status points at a better clip. So it would make it easier to earn a pretty meaningful status. I'd be pretty happy, I think, with Alaska Gold status, with being able to pick main cabin extra at the time of booking when I fly American, because I do fly American more often than I fly Alaska, and then getting One World Sapphire benefits. So I think that particular level really appeals to me as a more casual flyer who doesn't buy a lot of paid tickets. Most of my tickets are award tickets. I think that makes Alaska far more appealing to me. I'm not saying that it should be more appealing to you, the listener, necessarily, unless your patterns happen to match mine. There are situations where obviously having American status will matter more to some folks, but I find the Alaska angle more interesting for me.
Yeah, yeah. And where I am with it is Alaska's appeal is partly dependent on getting that Summit card, because I like the idea of being able to earn status from a combination of credit card spend and award bookings. And so that the addition of the award bookings, I think, makes up for the fact that the earning rate of the loyalty points is not as good with Alaska's program. But yeah, and then Alaska's program has much lower status point requirements for each threshold. So that combination is really good. Plus the Alaska Summit card has that 60K threshold where if you spend that much, you get that 100,000 point companion award thing. So you're getting more than just the status benefits of spending that much. You're also getting that extra award. So that whole combination, I think, works really well together. Get the free cancellations or free partner bookings and things like that too. So yeah, I still like where American went with their program. They gamified it, they simplified it like crazy, like no one's done before or since, and that's all great. But I like a little bit more where Alaska's going. So let's hope they can complete this trajectory and not introduce negatives to it.
Right. We'll hope for the best there. All right, let's move into this week's question of the week, which is one of those situations where we got a negative to deal with from a reader who ran into a situation, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are about it. So let's see. Prince writes in and says, I recently booked a vacation to Hawaii, which is my first major points and miles trip. The highlight was supposed to be our return journey from Maui to Boston with a short island hop from Maui to Honolulu, followed by the direct flight from Honolulu to Boston. Eventually managed to upgrade my entire family of five to first class for 125,000 miles in addition to the approximately $2,500 I spent on economy tickets. These were lie flat business class seats on an overnight flight, so I was really looking forward to this first big first class award flight, which had a high value. However, then Prince came to find out that Hawaiian Airlines is cutting the Honolulu to Boston route in November, and their flight is in December. So that flight is going to be gone. They're eliminating that particular flight. I'm planning to reach out to them soon about rebooking a different flight. What would you expect from Hawaiian regarding rebooking options? And do you think we should also expect additional compensation? Is there anything specific you would ask for? There aren't many lie flat options on the overnight portion of the return trip, except possibly JetBlue Mint. Do you think Hawaiian might consider booking us lie flat seats on JetBlue Mint as compensation? I need to act quickly because the Hawaiian JetBlue partnership ends on September 30th. What would you do? What do you think? What are you entitled to? And overall, just what are your thoughts about that type of situation?
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. I don't think you're like necessarily entitled to anything specific, but most airlines will try to do their best, I think, to kind of make you whole and to put you on the next best option, which would include for their own flights, probably. And I'm just saying probably. I don't have experience with Hawaiian doing this, but United did this for me, for example, once. They would put me on another flight in lie flat, even if that flight didn't have any upgrade availability or whatever. So they can break those kind of rules to put you on their own flights. So if there's another flight that's like, maybe nonstop to New York, and then maybe I don't know if they could connect you somehow from New York. Maybe that's where JetBlue would come in. Then I imagine they can do that. But whether they could put you on JetBlue Mint, does JetBlue doesn't fly to Hawaii, do they?
No, they don't. So you'd be
That's not
talking
even
about trying to get a Hawaiian flight to the mainland
to,
U.S. and then JetBlue Mint from like Los Angeles to Boston. I assume they must have.
yeah. That seems unlikely to me.
I don't think that's going to happen. That seems very unlikely to me that they would be able to do that for you. In general, when something like this goes wrong, it's highly unlikely, not necessarily impossible, but highly unlikely that they're going to put you on some other airline in order to fix the problem. So don't expect that in general. Like Greg said, they have the power to do what they can for you with their own flights, but with partner flights, it gets much more complicated and probably depends on the partnership. I would expect that maybe they could, now even American, I would not even be sure that they could help you out there. This really stinks. And one of the reasons I brought this one up is because, at least within the United States, you're not guaranteed. Like if you book, and it's not even just within the United States, if you book a business class, a lie flat seat, you're not guaranteed the lie flat seat, right? I mean, you're guaranteed the business class booking, but equipment swaps do happen. And so even if they hadn't canceled this flight outright, they could have just swapped in a different plane and you could end up not having the lie flat seats. That hasn't happened to me in all my years of award travel, but it can. And it stinks when it does.
Right.
So it's part of the risk of this. And I really sympathize here because if you spent $2,500 on these seats because there was upgrade availability and you wanted the lie flat overnight, man, that stinks because that's a lot of money that you put into something. Maybe you would have booked something entirely different if not for this. So I sympathize 110%. Unfortunately, it's one of the risks of the game in general, and it's a low risk, because I haven't had many situations. In fact, like I said, I haven't had any equipment swaps that have taken me out of a lie flat and into a non-lie flat, but even that can happen. So with the route cancellation, like Greg said, I would expect that they could get you to Boston some other way, or at least to New York, and then maybe that New York to Boston on American Airlines would be something that they could work out somehow. But yeah, I think that's probably about the best you're going to do in that case. Do you worry about this when you make bookings? Do you worry about?
No, I don't. But let me first introduce
Okay.
another potential solution is I think Alaska's going to be trying to build out some lie flat transcon routes. And you should be looking at what they're doing there. If they're taking out some Hawaiian lie flat options, maybe Alaska's putting in some. So you maybe could get routed through Seattle or LA and then to Boston on Alaska Airlines. I'm not saying anything like that is definitely happening. I'm just saying it's plausible that could appear.
And I would
Um,
expect that that would be doable. Flying in Alaska may not be lie flat, but flying
well,
anything,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think
yeah,
getting rerouted on Alaska is should definitely be possible because
yes,
of
yes.
they're now one company. But and that's why I say watch out for what Alaska is doing with lie flat routes because they might be introducing one to Boston that doesn't exist right now.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's a very good point. And when I say I sympathize with you, Prince, I really do because I am booked on the Air Tahiti Nui flight from Tahiti to Seattle in a couple of months and just saw the article yesterday that it sounds like they might cut that route.
Oh no.
And in my case, I don't know what that's going to mean because they don't fly another way to Seattle, right? I mean, there's no other way I'm going to get there, and so I don't know what that's going to mean for my booking if they cut that route, and I may end up in a very similar situation. But like I said, it's not something I generally worry about. It doesn't happen all that much, but it does sting when it happens. And for what it's worth, Prince, it would have happened that way also if you had booked entirely with cash. You could have booked that ticket
Right.
entirely. It's not just a casualty of the game, so to speak. It's something that happens when airlines make their decisions on cutting and changing routes, and that's unfortunate. All right. I think that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you've enjoyed this and you'd like to get more of this stuff in your email inbox each day or each week, go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe to join our email list. Follow us on all the various social media. Join our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group where you can ask questions just like that one and get answers from other folks who may have had that situation before. And wherever you're watching or listening, don't forget to like this video, give us a thumbs up, leave us a review. If you have a question that you'd like to be considered for a future question of the week or piece of feedback that you'd like to be considered for a giant mailbag, you can send that too.
Send it to mailbag@frequentmiler.com. Bye, everybody.